Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 43rd President of the United States, George W. Bush.
Thank you all. Thank you. It's nice to be back in Washington. Albeit briefly. Laura and I are honored you all came. I want to thank the Chamber for opening up this beautiful building and for their concerns about our vets. I want to thank David Shulkin for being here. He's the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. It's really good you're here, Mr. Secretary, especially since in a couple hours you'll be across the street in the White House for a bill signing passed by both Republicans and Democrats that President Trump will sign the bill, which will give you some tools to reform the VA. And if anybody can reform the VA, you can. You're a strong leader, and we're lucky to have your service for our country. You know, a lot of times you hear people gripe about the VA, and I'm sure there's some flaws in the system. But it's important for our citizens and our vets to know the vast majority of people who work for the Veterans Administration care deeply about helping our vets transition. I want to thank people from our team, Ken Hirsch and Holly and Miguel Howe, for being here and putting on this conference. With us today are three educators from three parts of the country. Ken Steinerhunt from Syracuse University that spends a lot of time on veterans issues. Margaret Spellings, who used to be in my cabinet and was Ken's predecessor at the Bush Center, is now the head of the University of North Carolina. And representing the great state of Texas, Admiral Bill McCraven from the University of Texas System. They're with us because they're going to discuss how better to help our vets get a meaningful higher education. There is as Fontaine said, that she felt a little out of place at University of Houston, primarily because of age, but also because of experience. And the question is, can these universities help these vets better transition? And so they're here to talk about their ideas, and I want to thank you for being here. We've got a lot of vets here today, and their families. I wish you would stand up so we could recognize you. Vets and families. Yeah. Maybe we should have gotten everybody who wasn't a vet in a... You know, I tell people all the time that we're a fortunate nation to have had millions volunteer in the face of danger. And I view our vets as a tremendous national asset. I mean, these are folks that got a PhD in life without having had to go to college. They've seen a lot. They've learned teamwork and discipline and skills. They've been under pressure. And the question is, can we help them if they need help? And I want to thank Fontaine and Flo and Michael for speaking. I mean, if you can't get a sense of the national asset that's available for our country from these three, then you're not hearing very well. I mentioned Michael last because he was a subject, or maybe he thinks victim, of my paintings. It turns out, Michael, you're not the only subject who is here. Byron Vincent, Justin Considine, Matt Anderson, and Spencer Milo are also here. 5 friends, 5 people I got to know well, and 5 people who I painted. And, you know, like, I said, you like your portrait? And the general response was, I'm honored you painted me. The reason I painted the men and women in the book Portraits of Courage is to share their stories and to raise money for the veterans programs at the Bush Center. So for those of you who have not bought the book yet, feel free to do so. One of the issues I hear a lot about from my veteran friends is, I want to work. I think the primary issue among the vets is, can I find meaningful employment? And one of the things at the Bush Center we have done is we've joint ventured with the U.S. Chamber to help our vets better understand how to bridge the military-civilian divide. In other words, how better to talk in civilian terms. As well, we're trying to help the private sector understand what a vet means when he speaks. Like, what's your qualification, son? I'm a sniper. A lot of corporate vice presidents will probably say to themselves, I don't think we need a sniper this year. Hopefully what they'll say eventually is, this person is cool under fire. This person is willing to take on a tough assignment. This person is disciplined and well-trained. And so we've developed what's called a Veteran Employment Transition Roadmap. And for those vets who are interested in discovering what we've discovered and how to give yourself a better chance of finding work, go to the Employment Transition Roadmap at bushcenter.org. Now, one of the things that prevents vets from realizing their dreams of working are the invisible wounds of war. And in the book that I painted, there's stories which yield important lessons that we've learned. And Rod talked about one of them, and that is the stigma of post-traumatic stress. Notice we dropped the D, because if you're labeled somebody with a disorder, you're likely not to admit you've got a disorder. I mean, who wants to be labeled a disorder? You know, like, say to themselves, I can't find work if I get a disorder. I won't get promoted if I get a disorder. People won't understand me if I have a disorder. And so in order to help defeat the stigma of post-traumatic stress, we dropped the D. I like to tell people it was courageous to volunteer in the face of danger, and it's just as courageous to talk about the invisible wounds of war. And so the book talks about, people like Turner, who had never really talked about his post-traumatic stress until he came to our golf tournament, stood up and started talking about it, and he realized the path to healing, the path to deal with the injury, was to be open about it. The other thing we've learned is that peer-to-peer counseling really works well. I mean, there's a lot of people who care about our vets. It's really hard for us to be, it's not hard to be empathetic, it's hard for us to really understand what a vet is trying to tell us. The best way a vet to get help is for a vet to seek a fellow vet and to be willing to talk about the problems. And so there's a lot of people here that are involved with peer-to-peer counseling. I don't dare name them. I'll name a few. Red, White, and Blue, Team Rubicon. I mean, there's a lot of really good programs that are working. Our mission at the Bush Center is to help vets who want to be helped to hook up with these peer-to-peer counseling groups. And then the third stage, of course, is the help with professionals. Cohen Center does a lot of good work. The VA does a lot of good work. And the fundamental question, and this is what the Secretary is committed to, is finding out that which works and focus on a result, not who gets credit, but how can we help the vets transition. And I'm confident that the work we're doing here today is really going to make a big difference. That's why it's important that you all take what we're doing seriously and come up with recommendations and action plans that all of us can help implement. One thing we're going to do at the Bush Center is, and we're pretty good at this, and that is helping people understand what it means to be a leader. So, one of the real dangers of these presidential libraries is we can become pretty irrelevant quickly. And we got 4 really good libraries in our part of the world. Johnson, Bush 41, Bill Clinton, brother with a different mother, and and ours at SMU. And so Margaret Spellings came up with this idea that Bill's library and my library started, and that is to have what we call presidential leadership scholars, to bring people from all around the country, 60 a year, to our respective libraries to teach them case study methods on leadership. How does the president make a decision? What does the president do with people in his team? And the purpose of which is to train new leaders and to give them a new perspective. Well, today we're announcing we're going to do the same thing for veterans and those involved with helping veterans. And so applications for a veteran leadership program will be made available on our website, bushorg.com, bushcenter.org, starting this fall. I'm confident this program will make a lasting impact on not only our vets, but on those who are trying to help our vets. Again, I want to thank you all very much for being here. This is a spectacular gathering of people who are committed to one thing, and that is helping vets, and in so doing, help this great nation of ours. God bless.